Okay, so in this video we're going to have a look at 5 tips that can help you improve your fast strumming. So the first tip is just on how you're holding the pick. So there's a few different sort of correct ways to hold the pick, but the way that I do it is I touch my fingers to the palm of my hand, I place the pick on top of the first finger so it's pointing straight out this way, and then I just place my thumb down on top. Doing this means when we then go to start strumming, we can keep our hand totally parallel to the strings because of where our pick is placed. And that means we're in the best sort of position to start incorporating things like palm muting into our strumming. The second tip is to start realizing that you don't need to strum all 6 strings all the time. So what I mean by that is you can sometimes just play all 6 strings on the beats you want to emphasize. So I'll play you a short pattern twice now. I'll play all 6 strings the first time, and then on the second time round, I'm only going to hit all 6 strings on the emphasized beats, and on the rest of the strums, I'm just going to be strumming these top strings. So by not strumming all 6 strings at once, we're going to improve the tone of our strumming, but it's also going to make it way easier to play faster because you don't have to cover all 6 strings every single time you do a strum. The next tip is to start using both your wrist and your arm whilst you're strumming. Now this particularly applies to if you're not using any wrist movement at all. So if you just use your arm to strum, it's going to be super difficult to build up any sort of real speed. So you'll see the difference here if I play a little bit with my whole arm and then if I play with my wrist incorporated into it. So we obviously still want some arm movement in that, but we want to keep our wrist nice and loose so that we're not just relying on our arm to strum the guitar. So the next tip is for really fast strumming, so I'm talking 16th note or semi-quaver strumming. So this is the kind of strumming that I'm talking about here. So for this kind of strumming, the biggest tip that I can give you is to put an arch in your wrist. So what I mean by that is we normally have our hand parallel to the strings of the guitar, but now we want to put an arch in our wrist so that's going to give us the maximum movement available. Now to get the speed that's required for that kind of strumming, it actually brings us into tip number 5. So tip number 5 is to break down strumming patterns you're having difficulty with to a much slower speed and slowly work the speed back up. So if you're struggling with a strumming pattern, you want to take it back to a speed where you can play it very clean and very precisely. And from there, you want to slowly increase the speed in manageable increments. Now, I think people shy away from this because obviously everyone wants to play either the song they've heard or the strumming pattern they've heard to the speed that it's being played at straight away. But sometimes I think people can get frustrated with a strumming pattern or a song and they end up giving up on it when if they'd really just taken it back a little bit in speed, they could probably get up to the required speed that they need for the song or the strumming pattern within probably an hour. So if you want to learn something like that fast strumming that I just did, you'll need to do what I used to do, where I would take a strumming pattern like that, take it back to a super slow speed and slowly build it up over time. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.